Please adhere to YouTube's selected guidelines before viewing the content of this video. I do not encourage or condone any products, actions, or behaviors shown in this video. All videos are produced in a safe, professional, and controlled environment. Please do not attempt to replicate any actions performed during the video. All actions are performed by professionals. Alright, so today I'm going to be smoking and reviewing the Marlboro Reds cigarettes from Brazil, which I am quite excited to do. This pack was in specific produced in Santa Cruz do Sul in southern Brazil by Philip Morris Brazil, which is Philip Morris International's Brazilian subsidiary. And from what I can tell, Philip Morris Brazil has been around since the 1970s. So while I can't say precisely when Marlboro as a brand itself was first introduced into the Brazilian market, I can say it was probably somewhere around that time, and so Marlboro has been a brand that has been sold within Brazil for quite a while now. How will the Brazilian variety of Marlboro Reds actually be? Will they be different than what I've experienced before from Marlboro Reds in the United States, in Mexico, in Japan, in Italy? I don't know, but I am very excited to find out all of that information and more during this video today. I do suppose, without further ado, I should probably go ahead and cover the packaging of, well, this pack of cigarettes right here. After that, I'm going to go ahead and get the cellophane all off. I'm going to get the pack all opened up and let you guys know just what the cigarettes actually look like, what they feel like, what the quality of them is like, and what they smell like as well. And after I'm done doing all that, of course, I'm then going to get to smoking a, Brazilian Marlboro Red cigarette for the very first time and find out just how these are, what they're like, and what I think of them. And once I'm done smoking, once I have my fill of nicotine, I am then going to give you guys my final thoughts on this pack, and I'm going to give it a rating as well and compare it against all of the other packs of Marlboro Reds I've tried from around the world so far. But before any of that, I first off want to thank the sponsor of today's video, who is me. That's right, I am the sponsor of today's video, as my new poetry book, Poems to Read While Smoking Cigarettes, is available now on Amazon. If you guys want to read some poems to read while smoking cigarettes, this book is the right book to purchase, and you can purchase it for $14.99 on Amazon right now. Link in the description and comments down below. Make sure to go check it out if y'all are interested. I do highly recommend it. But yeah, I think that's all I wanted to say for the sponsored portion of this video. Make sure to go check out my new poetry book in the description and comments below. Without further ado, let's go ahead and hop right into the packaging of this pack of Marlboro Reds right here. And we can see it's nothing particularly crazy or particularly different from other packs of Marlboro Reds from around the world. It doesn't have the more classical styling of Marlboro Reds that you find in the United States, instead having a more modern look that you find in international markets like in Mexico, in Italy, and within Japan as well, I do want to say. But yes, this is a more modern, sort of, I would have to say, less retro-esque design of Marlboro Reds, and this is definitely a design that you do not find in the United States. That's definitely a pretty big difference between this pack of Marlboro Reds and an American pack of Marlboro Reds, but when compared to Marlboro Reds from international markets around the world, this pack looks pretty standard, pretty normal, really nothing crazy going on. The brand continuity really is there to a huge degree. Now, there is one major difference on the front of this packaging, though, when compared to other markets around the world, though, and that is a unique Brazilian warning label just right here. It's basically just saying, hey, quit smoking. Smoking is dangerous. Gives you a website for quit smoking, gives you a phone number and everything like that kind of thing. We see a little bit of red, a little bit of a yellow right there, a little bit of a white background down here, and that's really all there is to the warning label. Thankfully, there is no graphic warning label on the front of Brazilian cigarettes, which is something I am very thankful about, but we do get a little bit of a warning label on the front nonetheless. Above that warning label, though, it really is just the standard sort of international market, sort of clean, modern Marlboro Red design, I will acknowledge. We can see a very clean white background down here with some sort of grayed out details, I would say. And we could see a red background up here as well. And of course, they're making a little bit of a sort of ribbon design, a little bit of a mountain design on the white. And we could see the red is a little bit of a sky, I would say, is another way of describing it, but we do have the little Marlboro ribbon design right here. Of course, it wouldn't be a pack of Marlboros without the Marlboro ribbon design, so that is an absolute necessity. And we can see in a Font in a way, I don't think font is really the right way of putting it, but in a way that is designed to almost look clear. We can see it just says Marlboro right there, Marlboro, just right there as we can see. And that text is very much done up in the classic Marlboro sort of font and everything like that kind of thing. Doesn't look anything crazy like stylistically wise with the font, but the color scheme and how it's presented definitely is a little bit different from American packs of Marlboro Reds. It's got a much more sort of clear look to it that's meant to blend in with the background just a little bit more so than not, and that's very much what we can see. Now, I will acknowledge I do need to stop just for a moment because I put on my jacket before coming out here because I was like, oh my goodness, it is getting a little bit more chilly. The sun's kind of starting to go down. It's almost sunset. As of the recording this video, it's currently 4:48. Sunsets at around about 5:30 where I am near Florianopolis in Brazil right now. And so I was like, I should probably put my jacket on just in case it gets a little bit cold during the video. Turns out my jacket was massively overkill, and I did not need it. I started overheating very quickly, so let me just put this over here on the table I'm sitting at, and I'm going to go and unbutton this as well just to get a little bit more airflow coming onto me and everything like that. Never good to overheat when you're trying to enjoy a cigarette, of course. The easiest way to not enjoy a cigarette is to overheat and just not enjoy a cigarette because you're overheating kind of thing. So, yeah, I'm going to leave my jacket off for the moment. If I need to put it back on, I will do exactly that. But yes, we can see the Marlboro text itself. We can see some of it is kind of in a darker sort of burgundy, and some of it's in a lighter sort of text or color, I do suppose is really the right way of putting that. And overall, it's meant to look a little bit clear, in my personal opinion, definitely a little bit more of a different look when compared to the American Marlboro Reds for sure. This is also embossed as well, which is pretty nice if you ask me. Moving on below this text, there's no other details on the red background, so we're going to move on to the white background, and we could see the Philip Morris coat of arms right there, a little bit of a ribbon, a little bit of a something saying PM in the middle. We can see there's two horses on either side and a crown in the middle right there. That's in sort of a grayed out sort of color that's meant to blend in with the white quite a bit. They're really going for the brand recognizability from a distance. Like from a distance, you can't even see any of the details. You just see what this is. You just see the color scheme and you instantly know what it is. They're really trying to go for that instant recognition with the color scheme of this pack of Marlboro Reds and everything like that kind of thing, which of course makes sense. Marlboro Reds are one of, if not the most instantly recognizable packs of cigarettes around, and they're really trying to hammer that home and kind of flex that with this packaging, I will acknowledge. But yeah, we do see that little detail right there kind of thing. That's embossed as well. And then below that, we could see it just says 20 filter cigarettes in gray once again, although not quite as grayed out as this right here. It is a little bit bolder, a little bit more distinct. And yeah, that's really all that's going on with the front of the packaging. Overall, much more simple than not. Overall, really not any crazy details or anything like that kind of thing. And it's a look I've seen before from other international, non-American packs of Marlboro Reds previously. Yeah, really nothing crazy going on with this packaging. In all honesty, it's a pack of Marlboro Reds. It looks good. It's a pack of Marlboro Reds. It's iconic, it's classic, and it's very recognizable, and the brand continuity is great. As always, I will acknowledge. Philip Morris, they know what they're doing. Without further ado, let's go ahead and switch over to this side of the packaging. We see warning labels, says toxic right here. We get a little bit of a warning right here saying don't sell to minors under 18. Also says right here that this contains nicotine and other toxic substances that can cause cancer, just right there. Moving on to the back, we can see a little bit of a slight graphic warning label, nothing super graphic, but there is a photo, so technically it is a graphic warning label. But we can see it just says, smoking can kill, you can stop now, or something along those lines. And we see a guy who's in the hospital, like yawning or something like that kind of thing with his socks on, and then, or no, that's just his bedroom. I just realized it's not even a hospital. He's got like family photos behind him and everything like that. Bro, oh my God, did Philip Morris Brazil literally kill a guy to get this image? Because he's waking up in his bed one day and he's dead in a morgue the next. Did they kill a guy for these side-by-side images? I'm just joking. I'm just joking. That would be pretty messed up, though. I ain't gonna lie. That would be pretty messed up. But, yeah, we do get some images right here basically just saying you wake up fine one morning and you die the next. That's what they're really trying to imply, kind of thing. Governmental warning labels, they be like that kind of thing. They do be like that, but that's just kind of how they be, I will acknowledge. Moving on to the other side right here, we can see we do get that background of the Marlboro sort of red design, and that does stretch around to the side a lot better than not, which I am pretty happy to see. We can see the Brazilian tax stamp right there. Overall, decent look, nothing terribly crazy, but a good look, better look than tax stamps from the UK and Ireland, in my personal opinion. Those tax stamps, mid as hell. Indonesia, #1, most beautiful tax stamp, baby. Brazil, it's up there, but it's not quite there. It's close, but it's not quite there. And when I say it's close, I mean they need like an elephant or like a giant pheasant on this tax stamp. I want to see some pheasants on the tax stamps or something like that. Give me the Cristo de Retendor, the giant statue of Christ. Give me that on the tax stamp. That would honestly be pretty baller. Cigarette tax stamp with the giant statue of Jesus Christ. Yo, that would actually kind of go hard, actually. Yo, Brazilian government, if y'all are watching, y'all should do that for the next tax stamp, like, printing. That would go super hard. That would be fire. But, you know, we get the tax stamp right here, and then below that we get the barcode down here, just has a little bit of a number right there. We see made by Philip Morris, Brazil, in Santa Cruz do Sul, which is in southern Brazil. Like, I'm in southern Brazil right now. I'm right near Florianopolis. I'm on the island of Santa Catarina right now. But Santa Cruz do Sul is even further south than where I am right now. So very much made in southern Brazil. And we can also see, we just get like a little product number or something like that right there, I want to say. And then under that, it just says 20 cigarros, just letting us know how many are in this pack. Although it does say it on the front of the packaging as well. But it says it in English, not in Portuguese. So, of course, they want to say it again. And, yep, that's all that's going on with this side of the pack. Moving on to the top, we can see, get red background, just says Marlboro right there, in the same exact way it says it on the front, except it's on the, not on the front right there, and it's maybe a little bit smaller. Still embossed, though. And on the bottom, we can see, once again, Marlboro logo right there. A little bit different than what we've seen before. We get a little bit of a white background, hence why it's different. But the Marlboro text itself is still very much in red, as we can see. And we get some other things going on that are definitely quite different from other packs of Marlboro Reds that I have reviewed previously. For example, we get the actual ingredients in the cigarettes in this pack on the bottom of the pack, which is kind of crazy. Like, it's nothing crazy. It doesn't, like, lay out what the actual, like, tobacco blend is or anything like that kind of thing, although that would be really nice. But it does, nonetheless, just say, hey, it's got tobacco, it's got a little bit of added sugar, adhesives, it's got some other stuff, cigarette paper, it's got, like, the glue, it's got preservatives, and it's got humectants and stuff like that kind of thing. So it does have all of the ingredients listed on the bottom of the pack, which is kind of crazy. I mean, like, that's not something I've ever seen from any other cigarette I've ever, well, not any other cigarette I've ever tried before. Seems like all normal, non-Pyero cigarettes in Brazil, or yeah, all normal mass market cigarettes you can buy at the gas station, basically, unless they're, well, I'm sure there's exceptions to this, I do want to clarify, but a lot of, like, the mass market, like British American Tobacco or Philip Morris made cigarettes do have the ingredients on the bottom. I've also seen some cigarettes that don't, but they're not, like, super mass market ones. They're either more boutique ones or they're just, like, other smaller brands kind of thing. But it is really nice to see the actual ingredients in the cigarettes in the pack on the bottom of the pack. That's really nice to see, and that's not something I've ever seen from any other country in the world, is what I wanted to say. I've seen this from other cigarettes, I do want to clarify. It seems like a lot of cigarettes have the ingredients on the bottom of the pack in Brazil, but I've never seen that from any other country so far, which is kind of crazy, and that's pretty cool to me, I will acknowledge. We can also see the production and like best buy date on the bottom of the pack as well. It says that these were made on the 13th of March 2026, and their best buy date appears to be the 13th of March 2027, so this is a pretty new, fresh pack, and yep, that's really all that's going on the bottom of the packaging. Overall, no complaints, and that's really all that's going on with the packaging as a whole. Yep, normal hard corner box, hard pack. That's the design. Let's go ahead and get the cellophane off, and let's go ahead and take a look at the cigarettes inside after I quickly go over the quality of the packaging. Of course, I gotta do it. I gotta go over the quality of the packaging. I'm just gonna put my, got a little bit of a portable battery with me today, just in case my phone gets a little bit low, and I'm just gonna put the plastic wrap under that so it doesn't fly away, just in case we get a little bit of a breeze. Don't wanna be littering, of course. Beautiful nature around here, I will acknowledge. Let's go ahead and take a look at the quality. Quality of the packaging is about average. Not bad. Pretty good. Texture is, oh man, oh. Okay, so the Marlboro text itself is kind of a glossy, sticky texture, but the rest of the packaging is kind of like a matte, smooth texture. Ooh, that's pretty nice. So some texture change going on with this pack of cigarettes. Overall, pretty pleasant texture under my fingers, I gotta acknowledge. And let's go ahead, does that have it where it cuts? Yes, so it looks like I can just lift this up and that'll automatically cut. I don't need to actually take this off beforehand, unlike with some other cigarettes. I believe that's how it goes with those. Anything else I want to mention? Yeah, texture is good, quality is good. And does this pack look better with the cellophane off than on? I definitely have to say it does. Let's go and get this pack all opened up though, and let's go and take a look at the foil inside. There we go, just snapped the text stamp just like that. And we could see, oh, I don't know what that means. Sabor Intenso Unico Marlboro. Super intense unique Marlboro? I don't know what that says. I will acknowledge. I kind of feel like I'm getting the idea of what it says, but I don't know fully because I don't speak nor read Portuguese, so I've really not much of an idea of what that says. But what I can say is that this goes down right there, so it's not like all the way across. It goes down to make room for the text right there, which is pretty cool. The top two words in the text is red, with the bottom two being in black, and we get the little bit of a Marlboro ribbon design right there as well. And the foil itself is not foil. It's actually paper, as is standard for Marlboro Red designs, or Marlboro Red variety, or Marlboro Red packs made by Philip Morris International in international markets outside of the United States. Got my words a little jumbled up there, but y'all know what I mean. And, yep, just says Marlboro over and over and over again on the foil. Don't know if you guys can really see it very well. I'll rip it out and see if I can show y'all, but it's kind of like pressed into it. It's not actually like written on it, so it's kind of hard to see through a camera lens. It just doesn't really pick up the details very well, I will acknowledge. Now, how easily does it pull out, though? Oh, man, pulls out cleanly, pulls out easily. Satisfying, I will acknowledge. No complaints. Let's go and put this down and see if I can show y'all the Marlboro text on the paper itself. I don't know if I really can. It might be showing up, it might not. It's really hard to tell, I'll acknowledge, but it is there. It is there. Let's go and put that down, and let's go ahead and get one of these cigarettes out and go ahead and get to smelling what these Marlboro Reds from Brazil actually smell like. This pack ain't wanting to close. Oh man, it ain't wanting to close. Okay, there we go, it closed. Smell-wise, I am getting sweet coca, chocolate. It smells like a Marlboro Red, I'm gonna be honest. Now, I don't know what the Brazilian blend of tobacco that you would normally find in Brazilian cigarettes, like Brazilian brands of origin. I don't know exactly what that blend would really taste like, in all honesty. A lot of the Brazilian brands of origin, sadly, have been discontinued in the last couple years. I haven't been able to find one of them that's still around. Looking for a pack of Derbies, really want to find a pack. Haven't found a pack yet. I don't even know if they're still made. I know Hollywoods, they're not made anymore though, but I would love to find a pack of those as well. If I can find a pack, I want to try them, but they've been discontinued for like 6 years now, so that's pretty unlikely. But this, to me, has a very burly tobacco smell. I really do think this is probably a predominantly burly cigarette, if I had to guess, with more than likely a little bit of added flavoring in there for a little bit of sugar, a little bit of sweetness, a little bit of probably either dark chocolate or milk chocolate, a little bit of coca kind of thing. But yeah, very much I'm getting a burly tobacco scent with undertones of a sort of sweet chocolate coca and a little bit of a dark chocolate kind of tinge in there as well, I will acknowledge. Taking a look at the look of this cigarette, we can see we get a cork style filter with white cigarette paper. The white paper has horizontal lines going all the way down it, and we can see the cork style filter itself does indeed have a line of perforation on it just right there. Just one line of perforation, but those dots, they're not super small and there are a lot of them, so I do expect that to have an impact on the smoking experience. Excuse me. And we can also see that we get on, sort of integrated into the cork style design, we get the Marlboro brand name just right there in the same way we see it on the packaging in the same font and everything like that. And right there in silver, there's also some text, and that just says firm filter. So apparently as you're smoking, this filter is supposed to remain firm and not get soggy. We'll see if that's actually the case. Surprised they weren't advertising that on the packaging. They used to advertise it on the packaging a lot, but they don't really do that anymore, at least in Brazil. I don't know if they ever did advertise it on the packaging in Brazil, but they used to elsewhere, let me just put it that way, and they may still. I have no idea. But that's very much the look of the cigarette. Pretty standard Marlboro Red look from not the United States. I'll acknowledge as a look I've seen before from other countries besides the United States. A lot of the Philip Morris International made Marlboro Reds tend to look very similar. There's going to be distinct different sort of regional differences with the packaging, with warning labels and stuff like that kind of thing in production and whatnot, but the overall look of the cigarettes themselves have overall remained pretty much the same everywhere I have tried a Marlboro Red from, except for countries with like plain cigarette rules and whatnot, I will acknowledge. But smells pretty good. Smells like it's going to honestly taste like a Marlboro Red, honestly. It kind of just tastes like a Marlboro Red. I haven't even started smoking. Kind of just smells like a Marlboro Red and smells good. Doesn't smell bad by any means. And quality is good. Look is good. Look is nothing too crazy. More of the same I've experienced before. Well, will this taste any different than I'm really thinking it will? Will this taste different than the Marlboro Reds I've tried previously from the United States and elsewhere around the world, or will it kind of taste similar to what I've tried before? One thing I've noticed, some countries' Marlboro Reds definitely are different than other countries kind of thing. In some countries, Marlboro Reds are more towards what the classic American market Marlboro Reds are. Some other countries, they're a little bit different with a tinge of that classic taste in there. Japan is really the best example of that so far that I've tried, in my personal opinion. It's very much got a Japanese tobacco taste in there, but still with the classic American taste in there too, and it kind of combines together very well. Some other countries, a little bit different, like let's say Mexico, for example. It is very classic Marlboro Red taste, but just a little bit different just due to different tobaccos used. Curious to find out what this one is actually like. So I'm gonna go and take a sip of water real quick, and we're gonna go ahead and get to smoking because I want a little bit of a cigarette. I ain't gonna lie, y'all. Well. Would you look at that? I have an ashtray. Well. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get to smoking my first ever Brazilian Marlboro Red cigarette. And let's go and find out just how it is, what it's like, and what I think of it. Yes, sir. You know what I'm saying? Okay, right off the bat, definitely a little bit different than what I've had before. Similar, yet different. The way the flavor is coming across is different. It's not the flavor itself that's different, it's the way it's coming across that's different. Initial impression. Initially, I am getting that of a distinct. Oh man, what? The way, so it's like the chocolate flavor is coming across in a way that I haven't really experienced I'm getting words jumbled up. I feel like I got a burp. Excuse me. So the way the chocolate flavor is coming across is different than any Marlboro Red I've tried so far. It's almost more distinct, more bold, more pronounced than any Marlboro Red I've tried so far. A lot of Marlboro Reds, yes, there's that sort of chocolatey, burly flavor in there. It's especially intense with this one, though. Very interesting. Okay. That is a pretty dang intense sort of coca front flavor, I gotta admit. This is definitely a coffee or hot chocolate cigarette for sure. Not like taste-wise, it doesn't quite taste like coffee or hot chocolate. I just mean like pairing-wise kind of thing. There's definitely cigarettes out there that I do not think go with like coffee or hot chocolate. This is one of the ones that does, though. Interesting. All right, well, let's go ahead and test the body, test the draw, test the airflow, roughness, smoothness, strength, everything like that. Let's go and figure all that out. Body is decently sized, decently dense, but not super dense, not super big. We can definitely tell the perforation on the filter is doing its job. This is also burning a little bit faster than that, although not super fast by any means. I've certainly had faster smoking cigarettes before. Airflow-wise, in this cigarette itself, I would have to say the airflow is perfectly fine. Not too constricted, not too light, just perfectly fine. Pretty decent overall, in my opinion. And overall, I would have to say, draw-wise, in the filter, there's a little bit of flow reduction going on, in my personal opinion. A little bit of flow reduction going on. Nothing too crazy, though. But overall, makes for the airflow and draw of this cigarette to be, I would have to say, yeah, the airflow is perfectly fine, but the draw's just got a little bit of a restrictedness to it, a little bit of a constrictedness to it. So I would have to say, overall, like draw-wise, it's just got a nice satisfying pull to it, I think is really the right way of putting it. Roughness and smoothness-wise, I would have to say that this is a very solid 7 to 7.5 out of 10. And strength-wise, it's hard to tell because I haven't finished this one off yet, but I think a solid 7 to 7.5 out of 10 is going to be about right as well. But that flavor is very intense. Like, it's a very intense mixture of dark chocolate and milk chocolate. It's a very intense mixture of dark chocolate and milk chocolate. And now, granted, I did eat, I do want to clarify, I do want to acknowledge, I forgot about this before this video. I did eat, like an hour or two ago, I did eat, like, a chocolate fudge cake. It was vegan and gluten-free. It was so good. Brazil has so many good gluten-free options. I was astounded by the amount of gluten-free options in the area of Brazil I'm staying in. There's so many gluten-free restaurants. I love it. I have allergies, and so it's really nice. I did though eat a little bit of a gluten-free, dairy-free, vegan, like chocolate fudge cake, which was delicious. I don't think that's impacting the flavor of this cigarette right now, but maybe it is, so I do want to acknowledge that maybe these are not quite as intensely chocolatey as I'm thinking, but there is definitely a very solid chocolate intense flavor in there. More intense, in my opinion, than any Marlboros I've tried so far. Even when compared to American Marlboros, I think the chocolate flavor is more intense from this. This has probably got to be the most intense chocolate flavor I've gotten from a Marlboro Red ever. So I can definitely say that Brazilian Marlboro Reds, while they do definitely fall in line with having a similar general flavor of other Marlboro Reds from around the world, they do have their own unique little blend, they do have their own unique little taste to them, which is not terribly surprising because, from what I've heard at least, Brazil is very self-sufficient in many ways kind of thing. They make their own fuel, they do all of their own agriculture and produce themselves. Brazil doesn't really import a lot of stuff, a lot of daily items from what I've heard. Really everything is produced itself. Like, it was kind of crazy earlier today, I was eating like some little cheese like balls or something like that. It was like little like gluten-free vegan like little cheese puffs kind of thing. They were really good. And they were made on the island I'm staying on. This ain't a big island kind of thing. And this island's pretty touristy. Like, it's got the beach right there. It's known as a surf spot kind of thing. They actually make the little gluten-free vegan cheese balls on the island itself in a factory and sell them to local stores and everything like that. When I mean local stores, I don't mean like your local boutique. I mean your local hypermart kind of thing. Your local, like, actual, like, real store. So that's kind of crazy. But yeah, no, Brazil's very self-sufficient. They've got their own thing going on with production and everything like that kind of thing. And so it's not terribly surprising that this cigarette is just a little bit different from Marlboro Reds that I've tried from elsewhere. And I can definitely say that it is just a little bit different from Marlboro Reds that I've tried elsewhere. That chocolate flavor is definitely much more intense than I've experienced from any Marlboro Red before. Now, as we're approaching sunset, and since I'm not sitting on the right side of the house, it is getting a little bit dim out here right now. I'm going to go and turn on the outside lights. I'll be right back, and we're going to get back to smoking. Alrighty, well, hopefully that will do. Definitely the lighting out here, it's a little bit less dim. I've got a light actually shining right in my face right now. I might actually go turn that off because that is actually going right in my face. I'll be right back again. All right, well, I've turned the lights on, but turned the lights off that were shining directly in my face. We're all good now. We're all good now. Without further ado, let's go ahead and quickly take another little bit of a sip of water. And then after that, let's go and get back to smoking. I need to grab myself a little bit of a thumbnail for the video as well, so I'll do that real quick too. And I think with this next cigarette, I am going to really try to determine what the real flavor is. I've talked about roughness, smoothness, strength, everything like that kind of thing. And the strength, in my opinion, really is a 7.5 out of 10. Pretty right on the dot for a full-flavored cigarette, in my opinion. Right on the dot for what a Marlboro Red generally is, strength-wise. So let's really talk about what the flavor is. I've talked about it a decent amount with that first cigarette, but I want to talk about it more. I want to see if I notice anything else going on with the flavor. So let's have another one, and let's get back to smoking, because I want to get back to smoking. So I'm going to get back to smoking. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You know what I'm saying? Excuse me. Let's grab a thumbnail. Hopefully one of those will work. Hopefully one of those will do. We will find out. Let's go ahead and speak on the flavor of the cigarettes, though. So in my opinion, the flavor of the Brazilian Marlboro Red cigarettes is very much that of an intense chocolate flavor. Now, what's interesting about the flavor is that, one, it's so intense because it is really just that intense. And another thing that's really interesting about it is that it's not just chocolate, of course. And it's not just one type of chocolate. There's a little bit of milk chocolate in there, a little bit of dark chocolate, a little bit of just like brown sugar in there too. And there's a little bit of a nutty flavor, in my opinion, as well. But yeah, it's not distinctly, and it's sort of a dry chocolate. I think that's really the right way of putting it. It's sort of a mixture of milk and dark chocolate in a dry facet, in a dry way. Interesting. Interesting. That's a really nice, it's a good flavor. It's a good flavor. I quite like the flavor of these, and the quality of the Marlboro Reds from Brazil as well are fantastic. I think the pack I bought was probably, I forgot to look at the receipt. I don't even think I got a receipt from the place I bought them at, and I forgot to look at the price. My bad. But I think it was around about $3 was the price I saw elsewhere. Around about $3 USD, I want to clarify, or around about 15 Brazilian reals. It might have been more like 10, might have been more like $2. But yeah, for the price, especially for me as an American, this is a great quality cigarette, and I'm like, this is just a good quality cigarette in general, in my personal opinion, especially since I've tried, honestly, some very mid Marlboro Reds from different areas around the world. This is not one of the mid ones. This is one of the really nice Marlboro Reds, I gotta admit. Honestly, I would have to say this Marlboro Red is better quality than Marlboro Reds in the United States. Not joking, by the way. Marlboro Reds in the United States, in my opinion, mid-quality these days, I will acknowledge. Really just not very impressive. Marlboro Reds in Brazil, though, better quality than American Marlboro Reds. Different flavor. I'm not going to say it's a better flavor, it's just different. But definitely, really nice. Really nice. But yeah, no sort of distinct, icky paper taste, no sort of chemical taste, no sort of additive taste. You can definitely tell the additives are in there, as in like the added flavorings, but you're not getting any sort of chemical taste or icky taste at all from these cigarettes, which is really pleasant, really nice. Yeah, and they definitely do hit strength-wise as well. Not the strongest, not the weakest, but, you know, they're hitting for me, I will admit. I would have to say the flavor itself overall is very much that of a sweet and savory, dry milk chocolate mixed with dark chocolate flavor. There's aspects of both milk chocolate and dark chocolate with an undertone of, I would have to say, no, I want to try that again. I want to try describing the flavor again. Let me go and ash this real quick and try that again, because I feel like there's more that I can mention besides what I just said. So I would say the flavor of the Brazilian Marlboro Reds is that of a sweet, savory, and dry flavor, with most prominently a dry yet rich dark chocolate, slightly milky milk chocolate, slightly creamy milky milk chocolate, with an undertone of nuts, sort of like tree nuts, I would say. And after that, there's a little bit of a sort of sugar flavor. I would say brown sugar flavor. And that's very much what the flavor of the Brazilian Marlboro Reds is like. But it cannot be understated that that flavor, especially the chocolate flavor of it, the richness of that flavor is very rich, and the intensity of the chocolate flavor is very intense. This comes across as much more of a burly forward blend than not. And while I don't know specifically what the classic Brazilian tobacco blend actually tastes like, I can say that the cigarettes I've tried so far have all been very burly forward, without a doubt. Whereas in Japan, the more standard sort of flavor for a cigarette, the typical Japanese cigarette per se, is more Virginia forward in my personal opinion. You can definitely taste that in the Marlboro Reds just a little bit as well in my personal opinion. That is not the case here, so I'm kind of thinking maybe the classic Brazilian tobacco blend may very well be that of an intense burly flavor, and that's very much what I'm getting from this. But yeah, overall, intense, dry, sweet, savory chocolate. A little bit of milk chocolate, a little bit of dark chocolate, a little bit of a milky flavor in there. It's pretty down low kind of thing. A little bit of a nutty flavor though. A little bit of a brown sugar flavor, and overall, a very nice, high-quality flavor from this cigarette. The quality is nothing crazy. I want to clarify. It's not like the best quality cigarette I've ever had, but it's definitely better than Marlboro Reds from the United States. No question in my mind. No question in my mind. Yeah, overall, I gotta admit, Marlboro Reds from Brazil, do I like them, do I not? I'm gonna have to say, I like them, and I would buy another pack in the future. Not going to on this trip, because I would much rather, on this trip, I would much rather try a variety of different cigarettes than buy the same pack of cigarettes over and over and over again. But if I was to come to Brazil again, let's say, and I got off the plane and immediately needed a pack of cigarettes, this would be a go-to that I would go to. Just about done, though. Does the firm filter actually work? I'd have to say, honestly, surprisingly it does. The firm filter works pretty well. And I'm gonna go and stuff that out in my ashtray. Go and put the lid on so that smoke ain't going anywhere anymore. And let's go and talk about final thoughts. Final thoughts on Brazilian Marlboro Reds. What do I think of them? Overall, they're good. I'd buy a pack again, and I enjoyed the 2 that I had during this video today. I really enjoyed them. In fact, I thought they were really good. Overall, very, very, very solid smokes in my personal opinion that I do quite enjoy, and I would buy another pack of again in the future. Yes, without a doubt, I'm going to enjoy smoking the rest of this pack, and I would buy another pack again in the future. No question in my mind. Compared to other Marlboro Reds I've tried before, where do I find them to be taste-wise and quality-wise? As said, they're definitely different than what I've tried before in regards to Marlboro Reds, but they're not like crazy different. Like the overarching sort of chocolate coca American blend is definitely still there kind of thing, but there's also a little bit more richness, a little bit more distinctness, and just a little bit more intensity to the flavor than what I'm used to as a whole. The quality is good. Overall, I would have to say still, of all time, my favorite Marlboro Red I've ever smoked is the Japanese market Marlboro Reds. Those are still the highest quality, the best tasting, the most of my preference, in my personal opinion. I'm gonna have to say number 2 though, my number 2 favorite Marlboro Red I've ever smoked, gotta be Brazilian Marlboro Reds, no question in my mind. Number 2 right now, as of the recording of this video at least, may change in the future as I continue trying more Marlboro Reds from around the world. Number 3 is probably Italian Marlboro Reds. Number 4 is probably the classic American ones. Then after that, probably Mexican Marlboro Reds. And then after that, I believe I tried Marlboro Reds from the UK as well. And maybe 1 or 2 other countries that I cannot remember off the top of my head. But yeah, all those fall after that. And yeah, solid. Just to say it straight up, very solid. And I'm gonna have to give these a very solid, I'm gonna have to say a very solid 7.5 out of 10. I think these deserve a very solid 7.5 to almost 8 out of 10 rating, but I'm gonna stick with the 7.5 rating. I'm gonna stick with the 7.5, but yeah, solid smokes, no complaints. I have found them to be quite solid, and I am looking forward to the rest of the pack. Overall, any complaints on my behalf? None at all. I like the flavor of them. And if you enjoy Marlboro Reds in the United States, I think you'll enjoy the Brazilian Marlboro Reds even more if I had to hazard a guess. I think that's just about all I had to say for today's video. Appreciate y'all watching today's video. Hope you guys have enjoyed watching. If you guys have enjoyed watching, of course, like, subscribe. Make sure to go check out my new poetry book, Poems to Read While Smoking Cigarettes, available now on Amazon. Link is in the comments and description down below. Go check it out. Of course, I do highly recommend. Appreciate y'all watching today's video. And until the next one, y'all, stay safe and peace, and have a great one.